Ever wondered why? The moment you set a massive goal, a nagging voice whispers from deep within, "Give up, you can't do this." That voice isn't coming from the outside world. It's your number one enemy, living right inside your own head. Bruce Lee, the man who shook the world with a 1-inch punch, understood a truth that most people live their entire lives without realizing. Bruce Lee knew that the fight doesn't end in the ring or on the street. Bruce Lee taught that the greatest war of your life starts the moment you wake up and have to battle yourself. Do you think Bruce Lee became a legend just by training his muscles? No. Bruce Lee mastered the art of silencing that negative voice and turning it into a weapon to conquer the world. In this video, I'm going to show you how to identify the inner enemy that is eating away at your potential and how to destroy it, just as Bruce Lee destroyed every limitation in his path. If you don't learn these lessons, you will remain a slave to the chains you forged yourself, just as Bruce Lee would have been had he listened to his critics. Let's expose the first enemy, perfectionism. Bruce Lee always said, "Truth is outside of all fixed patterns." Do you know why most of us never start anything? Because we are terrified of not being perfect. When Bruce Lee was creating his fighting system, Jeet Kune Do, everyone laughed at him. They told Bruce Lee, "Just stick to traditional kung fu." But Bruce Lee understood that if he tried to be perfect according to everyone else's standards, he would never make an impact. You are making the same mistake. You are wasting your time on mental obsessions because you think your first video, your first project, or your first step must be flawless. The reality is that Bruce Lee stumbled 1,000 times and endured strikes that bruised his body, but Bruce Lee accepted imperfection as a necessary part of the journey. Learn that starting imperfectly is 1,000 times better than doing nothing perfectly. Start the work you're afraid of today, even if you fail. Every failure is a step toward mastery, just as Bruce Lee's failures fueled his evolution. Now, let's tackle the second enemy, endless doubt. In all his movies, Bruce Lee possessed an eerie calm. Where did that calm come from? It came from absolute self-belief. Bruce Lee knew that if he conditioned his body and set his mind free, he would react perfectly. Why do you have so much doubt? Because you think you must predict the future. Bruce Lee taught, "Don't think, feel." That means when you are fighting for your goal, you shouldn't constantly analyze, "What if I fail?" When you are buried in analysis, you lose your power to act. To destroy this enemy, you must learn to trust your decisions. Even if a decision is wrong, it is better than being stuck in the station of doubt. Bruce Lee proved that if your heart is aligned with your decision, the world will open its doors to you. Bruce Lee lived by this principle every single day. Next, we reach the rigid wall of ego. This wasn't Bruce Lee's biggest enemy, but it is the enemy that has brought down countless stars. Bruce Lee always said, "Be water, my friend." Water takes the shape of whatever container it's in when it's in a small cup, but when it becomes a river, it can move mountains. Your ego is like a stone dam blocking your growth. Your ego tells you, "You are already too good," or, "They don't understand you," or, "I don't need to learn anything new." That ego is the opposite of the mindset that made Bruce Lee a global icon. Bruce Lee was always his own student. Even at the height of his fame, Bruce Lee was constantly learning. Are you willing to admit that you don't know everything? This is the greatest psychological power you can possess. Bruce Lee's humility was the secret to his mental superiority. Bruce Lee knew that the moment you think you know it all, your decline begins. Let me tell you a secret that can change your life. When Bruce Lee was training, he was always focused on his breathing. Bruce Lee knew that if you control your breath, you control your emotions. What is the first thing you lose when you get angry, afraid, or hopeless? The rhythm of your breathing. Bruce Lee teaches you that in the toughest circumstances, all you need is a deep breath to return to your center of power. This is a simple exercise, but the impact is devastatingly effective. Next time you feel like losing your temper, pause for 3 seconds and take a deep breath. Bruce Lee knew that a chaotic mind brings a weak body. You must learn to keep your mind as still as a calm lake, even when the storm of problems surrounds you, just like Bruce Lee did. Many think power is just muscle. Bruce Lee destroyed that myth. Bruce Lee showed that mental focus can turn a small strike into a destructive force. How much energy are you wasting in your life? How much are you spreading yourself thin over 100 useless tasks? Bruce Lee teaches you to concentrate all your power onto one point. Focus is the golden key to success. That was Bruce Lee's goal-setting strategy, to know exactly what he wanted and to pour every thought, every minute, and every ounce of his energy into that one goal. You don't need to do 100 things at once. You only need to know what your one big goal is and remove everything else from your orbit. This means eliminating inner enemies. It means saying no to anything that moves you away from your target, as Bruce Lee always did. Let's look at it from another angle. Bruce Lee has a very famous quote: "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Why do you get tired so quickly? Because you are looking for quick results. Bruce Lee practiced in the shadows for years, throwing thousands of punches in dark garages in Hong Kong until he reached that stage. Bruce Lee turned repetitive training into a ritual. You must do the same. Choose one simple, good habit and repeat it until it becomes a part of your soul. Bruce Lee teaches you that consistency is more important than talent. If you continue one simple task for 1,000 days, you will surpass any talented person who quits early. This is defeating the enemy called boredom. Boredom is the silent killer of your dreams. Bruce Lee was never bored because Bruce Lee knew that every strike brought him one step closer to mastery. Now, let's go back to the mirror. Right now, as you listen to me, if I tell you that your main enemy is the reflection staring back at you, would you believe it? When Bruce Lee looked into the mirror, he wasn't fighting himself, he was shaping himself. You, too, must learn to be friends with yourself. Fighting the inner enemy doesn't mean self-destruction, it means refinement. Bruce Lee rebuilt himself every single day. You must learn how to shed a layer of fear, a layer of doubt, and a layer of misplaced pride every day. Bruce Lee teaches that emptying your cup means preparing yourself to be filled with new knowledge. Why are you always full of thoughts? Because you refuse to discard your old beliefs. Bruce Lee was the king of self-reinvention. You also have the power to start everything over right now. Do you know why people still admire Bruce Lee after decades? Because Bruce Lee possessed authenticity. Bruce Lee never pretended to be anyone else. He was Bruce Lee, not a copy of someone else. The main enemy for many of us is that we are living someone else's life. We are chasing the approval of a society that doesn't even know where it's going. Bruce Lee teaches you to be yourself, but your better self. Bruce Lee invested in his own potential. You must also realize what makes you unique. That strength is where you must pour all your power. Bruce Lee turned his weaknesses into opportunities because he accepted them. You must know your weaknesses, but don't let them define your identity. Your identity is the work you choose to do with all your might. Finally, remember that Bruce Lee didn't say his life was easy. Bruce Lee said his life was worth it. If you want a life of worth, you must pay the price. The price is leaving behind your fears, your doubts, and your ego. This war is constant. No one can win this war for you. Only you can pick up your sword and go to war against these negative voices. Bruce Lee showed the way. Bruce Lee showed that a human being, even when under pressure from all sides, can still stand up and change the world. You have that same power, too. You just need to decide that from today, you will be the master of your brain, not its slave. Go and destroy this inner enemy, because you were made to be a legend. Your story starts right now, right after this video ends. There are no more excuses. Go and transform into the person you know you can be. Bruce Lee was just an example. You are the reality. Now it is time to show that reality to the world with absolute power.